You leaving job from job to job thinking that it's them, and you need to look in the mirror because it's you.
Welcome back, and this is another episode of the Pew Baby Show. This week's topic, we are going to go back and recap some things that we've already discussed, as well as recap some things that we discussed last season. Today's episode is how to recover from church hurt. I know that last season we discussed in depth church hurt. What are some of the causes of it? I know that our previous guests have touched on church hurt, and Justin gave us a lot of information on church hurt and how to bridge the gap. And so
And Janet gave us the leadership perspective.
she definitely gave us the leadership perspective, and we thank both of them for coming on and being our guest on the show and giving their take on the separation of church and young people and how one can recover. But for this episode, we wanted to give information on how to recover because, you know, we've already, like I said, went over the causes, and so now we're moving into the recovery phase of things. And so a lot of people out there have left the church. They don't feel comfortable coming back because they just haven't healed. And you know, a lot of different things go on when you're in that process of wanting to go to church and knowing that you want to pursue a relationship with God, but you just don't altogether know exactly how to make that happen. And so that's what we want to discuss today, because we've both experienced our own versions of church hurt in our personal lives, as well as we've sat back and watched things unfold within certain family members. And so we just want to give you tools on how to get over that thing, basically. So I'm gonna let you take the floor and give us your thoughts. Yes, I'm passing the mic.
They go pass me the ball.
But I'm passing you the ball.
You know I don't mind getting past it at all.
Yes.
But the way I could put it, and it's church hurt, and we can even relate to hurt in general, because it's more than just church hurt.
Right.
When you are living the walk with Christ and you are trying to live right before Him, you're going to experience more than just hurt in the church. You're going to experience hurt on your job. You're going to experience hurt with your family. You're going to experience hurt in all the different forms of aspects of life. But the thing is, how do we recover and do not become swallowed up
And bitter
by that hurt that you have experienced? Because you have to understand, I love it where the word lets us know that what was meant for bad, God meant it for our good. And everything that I go through, and as I have lived life and went through all these different instances, I have been able to sit back and realize, what was the reason I went through that thing? In every hurting situation that you go through, you have to find what was the test within that mess that was trying to get you to the next point and level in your life, and if you're very deep, in God. Because everything that you go through, there's a reason.
it is.
And there's a time and there's a season. And I'm in the Word.
You are preaching right now.
So, since we're going to deal with church hurt, one way, prayer.
Yeah.
You have to get a prayer life. If you don't know about prayer, when you are in trouble,
Yes.
that is one time when everyone finds God, is when they're in trouble. And I would put this out there, don't let that be the only time and reason when you do want to develop a relationship with Him, is when trouble comes, because you need to have a relationship and know Him for yourself, even in the good, so that when the bad does come, you have enough assurance that because of who He is, and I know who got me, it won't prosper. It can't prosper. Anything you say against me, it's not going to work. Anything you set up, I already know He's going to knock that wall down, and I'm going to walk right on through it. So with prayer, that opens up a connection. Come on now, I'm feeling that one. Up to Him, because when you are going through, it's something about the assurance. I'm saying that word again, because it is so many naysayers and so much back and forth, and oh God, I can use so many different scenarios of words when it comes to that. You have to be sure
Yes.
and be confident because that is something that knocks a lot of us out.
Yeah.
We don't have confidence in ourselves.
Right.
We don't have enough self-esteem to keep moving once we have been knocked off course.
Right.
Because let's be real, there's some things that's gonna come in life that are gonna knock you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
The test gonna come. Now, don't get me wrong, we know the word does say he won't put more on us than we can bear. But that don't mean you ain't gonna get knocked out sometime.
Exactly.
Sometimes you have to fall down hard so that you can get back up greater.
Oh, come on.
Now that's a word.
That's a whole word right
Fall down hard to get back up greater and better than what you was before. If you went through that thing and came out that test right. Because I have come to know while walking this walk and going through adversities, if you do not pass that test, guess what's going to happen?
It's going to rewind.
It's going to rewind and you're going to go through it again. It may not be with that same person, may not be with that same church, but I promise you in some shape, form, or fashion, that thing is going to come back up. You leaving job from job to job thinking that it's them, and you need to look in the mirror because it's you. And that's hard to swallow when you are the test. You are the trial that keeps coming before yourself. But hey, sometimes you just have to really take a good look in the mirror and realize I am the problem.
Yeah, because sometimes you are the problem.
Yes.
And sometimes you need to, like, I like what you said a second ago when you said during your recovery process, you need to take time to reflect on what happened and why this happened.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Always take time to reflect immediately following a storm or even while you're in the storm. Take time to reflect and find out, why am I going through this? Because it's in that place that you'll discover who you are, if the problem is really you, and what tools do you need to get well, not tools, not
You can say tools as well.
what tools you need to get stronger. That's what I'm trying to say. It's been a long day, y'all. But you find inner strength when you take time to get the lesson from whatever it is that you're going through. And like you said, you know, we have been through enough, both of us together, that some people I know would not be able to stand through all the things that we've gone through and test and try.
I can witness, and I'm sure you can agree with me. I understand how people commit suicide.
Yeah.
And why.
Yeah.
I understand why people snap and blow up places
Yeah.
and shoot up the job and all that, because there's a breaking point.
Yeah.
And when you have not been raised accordingly and been through enough things to strengthening, you know, someone, when I say this, you need to have skin like leather.
Oh, yeah.
Or you need to have skin like a duck and let the water just roll off your back. We have so many weak-minded. That's the whole thing, this mindset. So weak, you can't take nothing.
Nothing.
If the raindrop hits you across your face,
You falling out.
you are out for the count.
Down.
And what kind of weak individual is that, especially in the world we live in today?
And then, not everybody wants to hear your sob story because everybody is going through something.
Yes.
And so that's why we're here. We're trying to give tips and tools on how to recover from not only church hurt, but just hurt in general. And so, like you said, not only will that test keep coming around, what I've learned is if you've mastered it on one level, you will, it's like God will say, okay, now you graduated to this level. And so you'll experience it on a different level from different people with bigger devils, with a different crowd of people. And so what I've learned is, or what I've done is, when I find myself in a situation, that's why taking time to find the lesson in your first storm is important, because see, then you'll go back and say, okay, what did I learn from this? What happened here?
And apply it to the next.
And you will apply it to the next situation, because you, like one of my favorite people in the world, she says, I done seen you before. And that's true. You'll be able to assess the situation and say, I've seen you before. I've been here before. So I already know how to handle it. And then when you do a self-reflection, because I know that I've done this, I look at past situations and be like, that's where I messed up. I shouldn't have said that. I should have moved like this. Next time, if that happens, then I'll be quiet. Next time, I'll just move. Next time, I won't have nothing to say. Next time, I'll do this. You know what I mean? And God will hold you to it like, okay, So next time, I'm gonna bring you a next time.
Uh-huh.
And then now let's see what you're gonna do. And if you fail on that level, you'll keep failing on that level and you'll stay on that level until you graduate. So number one, get the lesson.
Get the lesson.
Do self-reflection. Number two, what I like to do is after I've gotten the lesson, in that process, like you said, prayer. Well, no, number one is prayer. Number two is get the lesson, self-reflection. Number three is while you're praying, ask for healing.
Yes.
Ask God to heal you from whatever hurt or pain or discomfort that you experienced from whoever, especially if it was at the behest of someone in leadership at your church. You know, ask God to heal you, heal me in this area because I'm vulnerable, I'm hurting, I'm in pain. Because you could say something out of the way because you're speaking from a broken place.
Can I say something?
Go on and say
because
something.
you said a lot. That was a mouthful, and I have a scripture to even go with it.
Come on,
when you
scripture.
said sometime you have to learn the scripture, I'm going to give so y'all can go and pull it out if you want to see it. It is 2 Corinthians 4, verse 18. It's a good scripture. This goes right what we're talking about. But before I say that, where you said this here, this mouthpiece, you have to learn how to shut up sometime. A lot of things that some of us as people that we're going through and dealing with, and I'm not just talking about church, I'm talking about life itself, is because you run this thing, this hole in your face. Not this one, apparently way too much and getting yourself in all kinds of ish that you shouldn't even have to deal with if you have kept your mouth shut. God gives you dreams, He gives you visions, He gives you ideas, but instead of you praying on that thing, seeking His face, not nobody else, seeking Him, you go around and running your mouth and telling everybody, and you wonder why somebody stole your idea. You wonder why they hating on you because you went and flabbergasted everything to everyone, and you started something that you shouldn't even have to go through. And that's why you're going to learn that test to shut up. Sometimes we go through things just to learn how to shut up and stand back when He said, peace be still, and see the salvation. We need to learn how to shut up sometimes.
Yes, that's the truth. And let God fight the battle. Because sometimes, you know, people always say the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. Well, when you really apply that to every situation, you'll realize that you will come out the victor more often than not. You know what I mean? Because if we're saying, okay, the battle is not mine, it's the Lord's, then what you got to say?
You
shouldn't have nothing to say. Why you feel the need to get on Facebook and tell your side of the story? Why you feel the need to go on live and tell your side of the story?
Need to be vindicated.
You just be quiet, because sometimes that's all you need to do is be quiet. And sometimes when you're in prayer, that's what He'll say is, "Don't worry about that. I got that.
Just be quiet. Let me handle it." Let
Don't
me
say
say
nothing
the
else.
scriptures because I want to, because it's good. And it says, verse 18, 2 Corinthians 4, 18. It says, "While we look not at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen, they're temporal. But the things which are not seen are
eternal." I knew that.
It said it all by itself.
It's temporal. Temporal meaning temporary, meaning not lasting forever.
Long. All of this carnal, fleshly things that we're dealing with right now on the job, in the church, with the family, because that's a whole nother problem and just by itself. All that is temporary. Take your eyes off of that. Stop worrying yourself. We worry ourselves to death about stuff that we have no control over. And start putting your faith, your power, your energy, what are all these different ways I could put it to something that's not seen. Put it to something that's way more important.
And that's what you do in the reflective period. You do a lot of praying, you do a lot of talking to God, you do a lot of asking for healing, and it's in that secret place and in that quiet place where you will get instruction. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes it's about you being silent, but you making silent moves, meaning don't argue with that person.
That's right.
But I'm going to give you a plan. I'm going to give you a way of escape. I'm going to tell you this is what you need to do. If it's going to another church, I'm going to show you this is the church you need to go to. Or if it's staying here, I'm going to tell you this is what you need to do. This is how you need to handle that. This is how you need to handle these people. Don't say nothing. Just stay here. Because sometimes we go through things as well because God just wants to see how much we trust Him.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so,
Because we say we trust him, but do you really mean?
do you really trust him? And I've noticed that out of everything that I've gone through, my faith has increased. My
Yes.
trust in Christ has increased. And so I'm to a point now where, regardless of what's happening, I have total trust in God. Like, look,
You fully persuaded.
I am fully persuaded. And I'm fully persuaded that God answers prayers, because I know for a fact that in certain situations that I've been in and been hurt in, I would be like, God, how could you let that happen? Or how could you allow that to happen? You know what I mean? And over time, it might not even be tomorrow, the next day, or the next month. Sometimes those answers don't come for years.
And years.
And years.
And years.
And he'll present those answers to you and reveal that thing to you. And you'll be like, oh, that's why that happened. Or sometimes he'll let you see the end of a thing, or the end, if it was a falling out with you and a person, he'll let you see this is why.
And don't show you all that that's going to conspire before you get to that end.
Right, right. And oftentimes you might not even be involved. You go on about your life, and he'll let somebody tell you, oh, did you hear that so-and-so and so-and-so did so-and-so? You'll be like, what? 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 And then you'll come into understanding like, that's why their relationship had to end, because he was crazy. That's why their friendship had to end, because she was a hater. That's why their relationship didn't prosper, because she's a thief and she tried to steal my idea. I see now.
And that's why some of us can't recover, because when the recovery process begins,
We want to keep going back.
We keep reflecting, going back, trying to dibble and dabble, do what we need to do. But if this is what you really wanted and you see that that's starting to happen, and you have to go with the flow.
Yes, you do. And then people always say, well, karma take too long. And it does take a long time.
That is true.
It takes a long time. But once you have decided, well, I'm going to take matters into my own hands, well, now you've just exposed yourself to whatever consequences that you're going to have to face because of your own actions.
And being
like
carnal.
it being carnal, when you could have just sat down and been quiet. You know what I mean? And I've had to learn that lesson too. When I've taken matters into my own hands, this is the result. When I've been quiet and let God fight, that was the result. And so that's a part of the recovery process, is knowing when to shut up, when to have something to say, when to fall back, when to fall forward on your face.
That's right.
In prayer.
And we're not telling you, we're not saying you can't be confident. We're not telling you you cannot speak your mind. You're not telling you that you should not try to, anything when it comes to defending yourself in that mannerism. But it is those times where sometimes you just have to lay low.
Yeah. And not defend yourself.
And not defend yourself, because all you're doing is making the situation worse.
And then just wait on the way of escape and then go that way. And I did want to touch on something really quickly, because it looks like we are running out of time. But I remember when I was in that space of wanting to return back into the church and not really knowing exactly how to do that. And so I know that what I did was I just started listening to certain people online. I would just say, God, I'm in a position where I want to be in church, but I don't feel comfortable because of what happened. So I'm going to need some type of guidance right along up in here. And so different ones would come across my YouTube feed, and I would take time to listen to them and see what they're talking about. And sometimes I would share them with you. And, some of the things that they said spoke directly to my situation. And I was able to find healing that way until I felt comfortable enough to go to the building. So sometimes, if you feel like, well, I want to go, but I'm not quite ready, maybe take some time to watch some online. I know our church is streaming online. I'm not going to say the name, but our church is streaming online. Different churches are streaming online now because of the pandemic. And so, that's a way for you to still be connected
And in the know.
And have some type of fellowship with Christ, and not actually have to go into the building. And then when you feel strong enough, like, okay, I've been laying low, I've been getting fed the word, I've been building up my spiritual muscles, I've been building up my self-esteem, God is working with me right up and through here. So now I'm ready to go back to the building. And then once you get to the building, don't topple over, because you have to know that since I've returned, oh, so many things have happened that I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah.
But things have happened, and people will be like, I wonder what happened. You don't know, because I didn't conduct myself like anything happened. I didn't address people like anything
That's
happened.
right.
I didn't bring up nobody's name like anything happened. I just was quiet and let however God decided to handle the situation, it
Moving
unfolded.
under the radar.
Moving completely under the radar, and you'll never know some of the things that happen. And some people that have hurt me since I've returned will never know that they hurt me again. Some of them again, some of them for the first time, because I never made a big deal, because I've learned from back here.
Yes.
That ain't the way you handle that.
And the more energy you give them, the more energy they have to keep up and continue mess.
And I've learned that sometimes when you just ignore people and you just let them, okay, you mad about whatever it is that you mad about, and you're going to stay mad by yourself. I'm going to keep on living my life.
Because I might even let you send that energy my way.
I'm not even going to receive it. I'm sending it back to the sender.
That's right.
And they had to come back and apologize, or they had to say, you know what? I'm tripping. Ain't nothing wrong with this girl. She cool. Let me go on and be her friend, and let me say something to her, and let me let her know I'm praying for you, baby. I'm praying for you too.
From a distance.
From a distance, but I'm praying for you too. So that's letting us know we've come to another end of our episode. But if
And
you
you
just,
know they be getting mad because they be getting the
why y'all
comment,
be getting so mad at us? Because we cut stuff off.
We can't talk to you forever.
Not forever and ever, unless you're gonna help pay some of these
You
bills.
know, when we get more sponsors, you know, we definitely give you all the time you want.
Right. Yeah. Now, if you have a business and you would like to help sponsor us, we could talk to you, inbox us about fees, and we could talk about whatever you want us to talk about for however long you want us to talk about it.
In that order.
But for right now,
It'll come to that time again where we have to say time is running out. And we hope that you're enjoying all the content that we are putting forward. And if you like it, like and subscribe to our page if you want to be updated when we're constantly putting out new fire for you to enjoy. Yeah, I said it. New
I
fire.
heard you.
Yeah, you got to call it like it is.
You gotta call a spade a spade.
So like and subscribe on our YouTube page. Like us and subscribe and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And remember, this season we will be exclusively on YouTube. So you have to like and subscribe if you want to keep getting all this good.
Oh, this fire.
So until next time, be blessed. Peace.